Hey YouTube, one more last video on the pumps, water pumps, where I've set up water pumps in the back that pump water out of this tank into this tank and out of this tank back into that tank for the purpose of having a gentle water change for my fry fish. So here's what I've mentioned I was going to do is I was going to hide the water pumps and all the tubing in the back behind dividers, and you can see that's done for both tanks. Just for aesthetic purposes, the fish can actually still swim into the back and into the front. So in this tank, you can see there is a ton of fry fish in here, and they're going through a water change where this tank, who has good water, and I add fresh water with chemicals, and the pump will slowly overflow it into this tank. So I change the water here, but in essence it changes it here in this tank. So if the two tanks were full, I would simply dump out a little bit of water out of here, turn the pumps on, and it'll suck the water out of this tank, which is the clean water that I would change before I turn the pumps on. So that way the clean water mixes with the established water in this tank, and then I have a very well clean established water that will flow over to this tank and mix with this where all my fry fish are, so I don't lose fry fish due to drastic water conditions, which I have lost in the past, and that is why I've decided to rig up this system. And like I mentioned before, it'll overflow to all the other tanks. So let's have a look at the other tanks. Here's the tank where I mentioned I have cardinal neon tetras. I will try and breed at some point. This is their tank. There's a group of 7 of them in here. My other tank is just a couple guppies in here, nothing special. Same with this tank, a couple guppies in here. So I do have a Fluval 105 filter that will hook up to this tank as well. So what will happen is this filter, this Fluval 105 filter will filter this tank. Let me see if I can show you guys the filter so you guys know what I'm talking about. This is the puppy that I will hook up to that tank. It's a Fluval 105, and it'll do the trick to filter the water in here so that at some point, when I get the rest of the pumps, all that filtered clean water, as soon as I press the pump, will filter over, move over to all the other tanks. And I can simply adjust the rate at which the water overflows to the tanks by squeezing the tubing. And the wiring has been moved to the back at this point. More pumps are coming. I'll be hiding all these dividers in the back. So yeah, basically I'm trying to establish a 5-tank water sharing system so that all these fish share the water, and none of them get harmed by drastic water changes, especially the little guys, right? There's a ton of fry in here and more in the back behind the decorations and behind the divider as well, as they can swim through freely. So that's what I'm really after. I don't want to lose the fry fish, and I want the water to be as good as it can be. One more time, it's very simple. Just put a divider in to hide the back. So it's a system you can easily build for, I don't know, $25 to $30 per pump. A couple dividers, something that would maybe normally cost you a couple hundred or $1,000 to set up. If you buy a professional version of this, I'm sure there's one out there. but this is something I'm rigging together. And yeah, these guys, you know, I might breed them, but I just like to look at the tank. It's very pretty with these guys swimming in the back there. Alright, well, enjoy your fish tanks. And one more time, you see snails in all my tanks. That will continue. I do not remove them. Look at all of them. As soon as they see poop, they're all over it. So I think they're a necessary part of the aquarium. So I do have the pump running right now. You can see my on switch in the back. The pumps are running. And at least these two tanks right now are sharing the water. So that's it for the updates for now. I'll come back to this when it's all done, when I have all the pumps in here. For now, I'm just gonna keep growing out these guppies. And I have a ton of guppies in this tank too. This is the tank that's not gonna get shared water. It's just gonna be a standalone by itself. I'm still working on my beta tank in the back. The spider wood I've added finally sunk down to the bottom. As you can see, I have buckets, I have everything going. I'm cleaning these things. And my 20-gallon tank, I have a couple tetras in here, and there's still a little bit of poop on the bottom. I have to suck back out and clean up. But that's what's going on there. My 120-gallon tank at the bottom. Everything's kosher. Everybody's happy. No problems there. So that's the work in progress here, guys. Stay tuned. This fish room is gonna look pretty good once this is all automated and cleaned up, and I don't have to worry as much as I did before. It was driving me nuts to have these fry fish die because of water changes I've done, and I really don't want that to happen. So I'm rigging up something that can keep the water clean and clear in all my tanks simultaneously. That's where that FluVal filter will come in. Alright, you guys, enjoy. Hopefully, if you have similar issues, you have multiple tanks, you know, it's not bad to try something new. I'm trying the water pumps, and I'm trying a filtration unit for all the tanks. And what will happen is I'll put in an air bubbler in this tank, I'll put a filter on this tank, and all that aerated water, all that clean water will simply overflow to the other tanks using multiple pumps in the back. Thanks very much. Good luck, guys. Subscribe if you haven't. There should be a link somewhere down on the bottom. Thanks very much. Have a good day.